and share my screen with you guys and get this thing rocking and rolling. I feel like we need like background music or something playing. Sorry, I'm not fancy like that. All right. What's happening here? Oh, present. All right. So welcome to our First Glory Sisters team call. It is so great to see everyone. All of your beautiful faces. I am just going to quickly go in here, and if you don't mind just muting yourself if possible. And we can, if you have questions along the way, you can always drop them in the little chat box. That way we can all see your questions. So I can't believe it's March. I can't believe it. 3 months into the year. What is this? But I'm so excited. You guys saw my video in our team page over the weekend, and just so incredibly proud of all that you guys are doing, but ultimately that God's doing through us. And so I wanted to take a second today as we kick off our call and first just celebrate some of the rank advancements from last month. And some of the other just amazing things that are happening on this team. And I'm just so proud of you guys. So shout out to Valerie and Abby for hitting Emerald in their business literally just this past week, as well as Jacqueline and Anna Bay and Sharia and Courtney. I have no idea why y'all's pictures are fuzzy, but I'm so incredibly proud of you guys. Emerald is, that stepping stone of growing your business is kind of that first step. And it's just so cool to see you guys, doing it, growing your teams, reaching out to people, adding coaches. And so I'm just proud of you for, being consistent, because I know that sometimes that's not easy. So just so incredibly proud of you guys. So again, I talked about this on the live video that I did for in our team page over the weekend. But this ended up being our February Changing Lives Club. Y'all, this is the most amount of women we have ever had on this shout out. I literally had to shrink the pictures down, and I loved every minute of it. But so cool just seeing so many of you hitting Success Club, changing lives. As you all know, like Success Club is a recognition tool, right? Like it's a way for us to say, hey, these are the things I'm doing consistently in my business. That's why it's important. It's kind of a way for you to reward yourself. My husband works in insurance, and he kind of has the same kind of system for himself as well, of just kind of having a benchmark, something that keeps you pushing every month, and really ultimately just says that you're being consistent and that you're growing your business and that you're helping people, which is what it's all about. And so I'm just so proud of you. If you didn't hit it, it's okay. Like you pushed, you were almost there. It's a new month. February is a short month, so I always give myself a little grace in February, but it's a new month and a new chance for us to really reach out to people and reach our goals. March and April are typically spring break. It's a chance where people are starting to think about, bathing suit weather and shorts and like taking off the winter layers. And so it's a really great opportunity to start thinking about how can you leverage that in your business, and start thinking ahead around those big holidays that are happening, and breaks and vacations and all the things that are starting to kick off. I know that later this month, some of our ladies are going to be on the Success Club trip. And so lots of those fun things starting to happen. So really, really awesome. And so incredibly proud of you guys for just pushing. And what I think is really cool is like half of these people on the list were like 3 days down to the wire of like the last 3 days of the month. They were just pushing so hard. And I'm so proud of you guys for making it a non-negotiable in your business. And then also just wanted to give a shout out to our success starters, Courtney, Anna Bay. They are now in month 3 qualification. If you don't know what Success Starter is and you're a brand new coach, basically if you hit Success Club your first 3 months as a coach, you will win a free ticket to Summit, which is an incredible deal. It's like a $160 ticket. So it's a really awesome way for you just to come in and A, start growing your business, but B, be rewarded for that as well. And so Amanda just finished up her month 1. So just so proud of them for hitting that. All right. So now let's jump into the chunk of tonight's call. Y'all, I'm really, really excited about tonight's topic, building a brand, not just a business. And I really believe this is something that I am good at. And this is something that doesn't necessarily always grow a quick, fast business, but it is something that helps grow a sustainable business. And it's something that I believe really has set me apart as a coach from other coaches in the network. Okay, so what is a business? So a business is an organization that makes products, service, or an opportunity. So for me, my business is Beachbody, right? So what is a brand? A brand is the image and personality behind what the business offers. It's the heartbeat behind the screen, right? So for me, yes, my business is Beachbody, but my brand is I'm a Jesus-loving, fashion lover, hat-wearing wife, working mama with another baby on the way. So if you missed the team call 2 weeks ago, I did announce that I'm expecting. So hopefully it doesn't shock anyone right there. You're like, wait, what? Hold up. So yeah, so that's who I am, right? Like I always tell people, they're like, so tell me about what you do. And I'm like, well, I'm a health and fitness coach. I run Fit for His Glory. As a part of that, I'm a Beachbody coach. And it's funny because a lot of people would just say, oh yeah, I'm a Beachbody coach. And yes, I am. But I always say Beachbody is a part of what I do. It's not all that I do. And the reason being is that I serve people in so many other ways outside of just being a coach, right? Like I'm showing up every day with content that is helping them in their faith and their fitness. And that's not necessarily part of me being a Beachbody coach. And so I always like to say that Beachbody is a part of what I do. It's not all that I do. Fit for His Glory is my brand, and it's something that I've built. And I believe in Beachbody and obviously love the products and all of the things, but it's a part of what I do. And I think that's really important. So it's not about what you're selling. It's about the fact that you are selling. So you really have to find what are the 5 things about you that make you you. So I just told you guys all about myself. I'm a Jesus-loving Southern, that's more than 5 things, by the way, Southern, fashion lover, hat-wearing wife, working mama with another baby on the way. Those are all things that you following me, you're going to see and you're going to get, right? Like that's me, that's my brand. If someone doesn't like someone who says y'all, then they probably don't need to follow me. If someone doesn't love Jesus, then they absolutely don't need to follow me. If someone doesn't, want to hear about my kids or my family, then they don't want to follow me, right? Like Beachbody aside, if they don't like these things, they're not going to be interested in the content that I bring to the table. And so you've got to know what your 5 are. People can buy Beachbody from anywhere. They can go on Amazon and purchase it. They can go on, beachbody.com and just sign up for Beachbody on demand and get put with a coach, right? It's about selling you. It's about people wanting to work with you. And so you've got to find those things about you that make people attracted to you. It's attraction marketing, right? You're an influencer. Patrice did an amazing call for the Radiant Tribe over the weekend. And literally I was in tears. And if you aren't on their tribe, I'm sorry that you're not able to watch it. But one of the things she talked about is being an influencer and how when you sign up as a coach, you sign up to influence people. And part of that is influencing them and attracting them to the things that you're doing. So you've got to figure out ways to be, with Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is that you're using, figure out ways to be in the photo without always taking selfies. So, if I come and look at your Instagram and you're like, Caroline, can you do an audit of my Instagram? Don't get your feelings hurt if I'm like, all right, girl, you got to quit taking so many selfies or you've got to quit taking such dark photos or posting graphics from beachbody.com. But seriously, y'all, be in the photo. I actually heard an amazing podcast by Jenna Kutcher. If you don't follow her, she has a podcast called The Gold Digger, and she did a test on her Instagram, and she's got hundreds of thousands of probably almost million followers. But she did a test, And for a while, she posted photos that were just of other people because she is a photographer. And so she posted pictures of other people. And then she kind of looked to see how the engagement was. And then when she made the switch to every photo, like her being in it, it wasn't always just like her face and a selfie, but her being in the photo, her engagement skyrocketed. And what she realized is that if people are coming to follow you and they want to know you and they want to hear from you, they want to see you in the picture. And so we have to get creative about how can we take great photos without having to pay a photographer all the time and use our iPhone or use our Android or whatever, and be in the photo, but not always just be this one-armed selfie, right? Or even a selfie stick. And so you have to really get ready every once in a while, right? Like if you are a stay-at-home mom, or maybe you work from home like I do, like I'll be honest, I threw mascara on for you guys and a little eyeliner because I was looking a hot mess. Like I still have sweat stuck to my face from my workout at 5 a.m. this morning. Anybody else? But every now and again, like we got to wash our face and we got to put a little makeup on and we got to be like, all right, I got to take a few photos for my Instagram this week, or, just grab a photo here for my Instagram to post. And not because we don't want to show people our gross selves. Like I'm not saying that. Obviously we show up on Instagram stories. But you also do want people to be attracted to your feed, right? Like you want for people to follow you. And some people can pull off that like grunge look, but to a certain extent, if you're going to go out and take a few photos for your Instagram, but at least like throw in a little bit of makeup. Try wearing your hair down. Sometimes, like I know for me, like even just pulling my hair back, I'll not notice it, but for some reason the pictures just they don't look as good. And it's probably because it makes me look bald. But wearing my hair down, making sure really that you have the right light. And this is the most important thing. You really want to make sure that you always take your photos with the sunlight behind the camera kind of shining in on you. And this is what's going to really help you have the best lighting. I'm really thankful because our house does have a lot of windows, so I can get some pictures inside. But even if it's freezing cold outside, like I'll go outside for 2 seconds on my porch, use self-timer, use my Apple Watch. You can actually like pull up your camera on it and press the 3 seconds, like once you have it all set up, and you can even see the picture on there. But set it all up and get a few photos. You don't have to have a photographer, guys. Like my little sister lives 2 seconds away from me and she does photos. And so sometimes like we'll do photo shoots like just once, honestly, probably every 2 to 3 months, like just take a whole bunch. But like that is not something you need to have a great Instagram feed. In order to really take great photos, you really just have to think about the lighting. And that is going to be the biggest thing. The other big thing is trying to use the camera that's on the outside of your phone instead of on the inside, because it's going to take a lot clearer photos and not so blurry of photos. And so just making sure that you're really thinking about those things and using, light and bright and eye-catching, that's going to really help. Another big thing is thinking about how you want to edit according to your personal brand colors. So I personally use presets. I get this little question a lot from other coaches. Basically what presets are is they are preset filters that a photographer has created. And typically they'll have a suite of like 4 or 5 different ones that you can download. And so I always, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just now seeing all of y'all's chats. But typically these filters all have a similar color scheme. So I personally, if you want to know where I got mine, they're from Lexa Jean Fitness. I don't really know exactly what she does in fitness, but I just know that her presets popped up one day as an ad on my Instagram account and they were on sale for like $20. And I was like, I'm going to go buy those because I loved the way that her feed looked. I had actually spent money on some presets before that and never received them from the girl. She was a Hot Mess Express. And I'd spent like $50 on these things and never got the presets. So I was a little tainted and I was not about to spend that much money again. So when these came across my feed and it was on sale around, I don't know, it was like a holiday of some sort, I decided to purchase them. So she has a lot of really great ones since then. She's made like 5 more bundles. So I really definitely recommend checking her out just because I have bought from other people before and not received them. And so, I know that Lexa Jean is a really good one. The great thing about these presets is that what happens is when you purchase them, they come straight to your inbox. And also she sent me a video that taught me how to use them, which y'all, like, I'm not like, people are always like, how do you figure these things out? And I'm like, because I literally just sit there and tinker with things until I like make it happen. I'll watch like 5 YouTube videos on how to do it. You know, I'm not just like this natural like IT person. I just honestly like play around with things until I figure it out. So with this, it was so helpful to have the video, the tutorial that could kind of walk me through it. But basically what you do is you use Lightroom, which is a free app on your phone. And the presets come with like photographer ones that your photographer can use on their computer when they're editing your photos, or you can use them just on your phone. So it's really awesome because like when my sister takes photos, I just send her all the filters and she just pre-puts them on there. So when she sends me my photos, they're all already on there. I don't have to go in and do anything, which is so great. So having those filters has honestly made a massive difference in the way that my feed looks and just the cohesiveness of it all. And so it's definitely something that you guys should look into doing. There's so many different ones out there. There's bright, there's more mild, there's different tones that people do. And I would just say like play around with it. Find ones that you think will look good with. Find someone who's selling them that has a similar skin tone to you and a similar look and vibe, because you don't want to purchase them and then try them on yourself and they just don't look right. So find someone that you feel good about purchasing them from. Lots of people are selling these now, and even Beachbody coaches. I've seen some Beachbody coaches selling them. I would say try not to buy them from a Beachbody coach just because you don't want your feed to just look like every other Beachbody coach. Try to find a photographer out there who, you know, is maybe in a different field, and purchase them from that person. The girl I bought from is not with Beachbody. She just happens to be in fitness. So I hope that helps you guys. Make sure to smile and look happy in your photos. Like, we need to remember that we, again, are influencers and we want to help people change their lives, and we want them to know that we're happy. And yes, we may go through hard things and we can share those things on our Instagram stories, but like our feed is so much different. And we want people to be attracted to what we're doing. And if we're not happy and joyful and shining our light, then people are not going to want to come and join us. So just making sure that we smile and we look happy, play along with different angles. That's supposed to say angles. Play along with different angles and timers and portrait mode. Like, play around with your phone and figure out what works. People always ask me, how do you take your photos? First of all, like, I don't have the newest iPhone. In fact, the whole back of my iPhone is completely cracked. Like, the camera is the only thing on there that's not cracked. But again, like, I always try to use this back camera when I'm taking photos, and I literally just use self-timer like 90% of the time. So I do have a tripod, and I'll use that from time to time, but like, I'll just set it up in random places and take photos like that. And I've played around with different angles and just figured out ways that kind of work. And so just do that. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, and just really stick to a similar background if that's what you want. So if you like more light and airy, just keep in mind that you don't want to have a really dark wall in the background of your photo. You want to keep it light and airy, then you need to keep lighter backgrounds in the photos. And so just keeping those sorts of things in mind. And then just think, would this make someone stop and read? So obviously this is where our content on our Instagram and building our brand on Instagram is very different from Instagram stories. On Instagram stories, we want for people to stop and listen. We want for them to read what we have to say. With Instagram, you know, I hate to say it, you can have great captions all day long, but if your photos are awful, people are not going to stop and read them. And writers don't like that. People who are really good writers don't like that. But it's just true. You know, think about the people, you know, sit down and think about yourself. Like, who are the people that I stop and really read their captions? Like, you might get used to someone who you really like their captions, and then you get to the point where you always read them. But for the most part, who is the person that like stopped your attention? And what is it about their photo that made you want to actually take the time to read? We'll go into captions in just a second, but I think that's really important to think about before you just throw something up. I personally believe quality over quantity. There are days when for the most part, I do post every morning. But if you don't have something to put up that is actually going to bring value to your followers and a good photo, then just don't stress about posting. I personally would prefer a coach post 3 times a week and it be really good quality than just throw stuff up there every single day because they feel like they need to get something on Instagram. You can show up on Instagram stories every single day. Like that doesn't have to be pre-planned or pre-filtered or anything like that. But using your feed to really, again, build that brand, right? That cohesiveness. Mm-hmm. All right. So we want to remember that we want to create friends and not just followers. I've heard Beachbody coaches say create fans and not just followers. But personally for me, I'm not here to build fans. I'm here to build friends, to build real relationships, right? And my goal is that even if someone never jumps in with Beachbody or they don't join a challenge group, that hopefully I'm at least being an arrow back to Jesus. And so remembering, obviously, like I say you are the main subject, but like it's not all about us. Like it's ultimately about like who are reflecting, but you're the main subject of your brand, right? So this is a little bit different than a brand like Coca-Cola, right? Or Beachbody even, because you are your brand and you want people to want to work with you. And so, you know, you want to have a mixture on your feed of your kids and your husband and maybe your challengers, maybe your team, but you really do want to keep you as the main subject that's cohesive throughout your feed. Really think about with your captions, like how can you spark conversation in your post? This for me has been a big game changer of asking people questions, which is the next thing. But that really helps spark conversation, asking people, telling people what to do. So one thing that I do a lot is say, hey, give me a fist bump below if you agree, or give me a praise hand if you're with me today. So I tell people what I want them to do. And that just really helps get engagement going. And if you don't know, the more comments you have, the higher up you're going to go on the algorithm. And so really start to think about how can you get more people to engage with your post and want to show up. So again, it's that balance between having a really good picture and then also asking those questions and telling people what you really want them to do. I think it's really important that as coaches, we do stand up for our beliefs and our opinions. We want to be real. We want to be authentic. And it's okay if not everyone likes you. This is really hard for me. I have had people, January was a really hard month for me. So just total transparency, because I had 3 personal situations of people literally that I go to church with who kind of said some negative things about what I do. That really hurt. One girl said that my Instagram was discouraging, which still kind of makes me laugh because I'm like, well, what about me? What about my Instagram is discouraging? Geez. But you know, that's okay. Like at first it really hurt my feelings and I literally cried about it. But what I realized is that she's just not in a place to receive it. You know what I mean? Like maybe she's not in a place where she is ready to think about health and fitness or making a change in her life. Another girl who's actually in my small group, we ended up talking and, you know, my Instagram for her, she was doing a lot of comparing. And so she stays home and she's overwhelmed right now because she has 2 kids under 2 and she's just in a really hard season of life. And so for her, she saw me, you know, doing all these things and getting up early, and it made her feel like she didn't have her life together and like she was a crappy mom, which absolutely broke my heart. But it reminded me of why I need to make sure that I'm being real, that I'm being authentic, and also just being okay with not everybody, you know what I mean? Like my Instagram making sense for everyone in that season. Like it may be 2 years down the road and she might be ready to start following me again, but maybe right now she's going through something hard. And so it really opened my eyes to the fact of it's okay for people to not follow you. It's okay for people to not get you. It's okay for you to not be everyone's cup of tea. It doesn't mean that they don't like you. They just might not be in a season where they can handle seeing your content all the time. And so really just help making sure that we protect our hearts in that. Because I know for me, I do wear my emotions on my sleeve sometimes. And because this is our businesses, and our brands, we care about these so much. I mean, here's the deal, guys. Like you care more about your business and your brand than anyone else does, in case you were wondering. Like more than your husband, more than your friends. Like this is your baby, right? Like, this is your thing. This is what you do. And some people don't understand that, and that's okay. And so just like giving yourself grace in that. That's a total side note, but I just wanted to touch on that because I think that sometimes we think that we have to be everyone's everything, right? And Michelle Meyer said it best to me because I was talking to her about it, and she said, people don't know what they don't know. And so they may not understand what you do, but that's okay. And they'll come around eventually. And so just keeping real, keeping authentic, adding value to people's lives. Like, this is so important. And I do think this is where I'm different than other Beachbody coaches. I don't just throw up one-liners or not that those are bad. I do those every now and then, but like, I really do try to bring value to people's lives. And my goal is that someone follows me on Fit for His Glory. And I'm okay with the fact that, like, they may follow me and they may just follow me for the fact that they want that value. But adding value to their life, even if they don't say yes to you and jumping into a challenge group. Sometimes people, I've had people in the past who are like, oh, I do CrossFit or I do XYZ, but then a season of life comes where they start having kids and they're seeing me showing up on my Instagram stories with my child running around and doing my workout, or getting up at 5 a.m. so I can get my time with Jesus in and my workouts done. And that season of life does come for them later. And then they're like, okay, I remember Caroline, she had all that crazy life stuff going on. I'm going to jump in and join her. And so just continuing to add value, share your story, even if people don't necessarily jump in right then. Share your story, share your past story. Who's the old you? What are the things that you've had to overcome? I actually did a podcast last night on sharing your story and using it for God's glory. But stories are powerful. Think about someone in your life who shared their story at some point in your life and it somehow positively affected you. It was probably that they shared their story and you were going through a hard time and they shared their story of overcoming it, or maybe they walked through it just months before you and just hearing their story encouraged you. Sharing our stories is so powerful. And we have to remember that as a coach, we don't have to have a six-pack abs. We don't have to have it all together. Our job is to simply lean back, grab the hand of the person behind us, and help them get to where we are today. And so sharing your past story, and even if that means you just started working out and eating healthy 2 months ago, you're still 2 months ahead of the person that's still sitting on their couch. And so share your past story. Share your past story in your health and fitness, but share your past story in your life. What have you been through? What have you walked through? That is the stuff that allows people to get to know the real, the authentic, the you, right? Beyond just this filter on Instagram, beyond just like this photo that we post, this allows them to really get to know us. Ask yourself, like, what are the fears that you're fighting against daily? What are the biggest excuses that you have to overcome to show up for your family, to show up in your fitness, to show up in whatever it is that you're doing? What is that excuse that you constantly have to come back to? What holds you back when you don't show up? What is the thing that's holding you back? What are you hopeful about? What are your goals? Share your struggles, but not in the way that leaves people feeling negative. Share them in a way that feels hopeful. And so it's really important that we are solutionists, right? Like, we're not just jumping on Instagram stories or jumping on our Instagram feeds and just being negative, right? Like, we want to bring light and positivity to everyone. We want to shine bright, but at the same time, like, being real and showing up with the things that we've walked through. And so let me be really clear in this. This doesn't mean that everything that happens in your life you need to share on Instagram, okay? There's some details that you may not be called to share, right? Like, there may be details of your story where you say, hey, I'm walking through a really hard time, and this is how I'm going to God's word and how I'm overcoming it. Or, I even have said, like, because we haven't announced that we're pregnant on Instagram or anything like that, our social media, we're kind of just telling people as we feel like we want to. Because we haven't done that, I've said things like, when we were doing Transform 20, I'm like, trust me, guys, like, there were days when I did not want to show up. Like, everything in me did not want to show up. AKA I was nauseous and like thought I was going to puke. But you know what I mean? Like, there's parts of the story I'm telling them about the struggle I'm having, but I'm not having to share all the details, right? And so you can be real and you can be authentic, but you don't have to always share the details. Maybe you do share the details because maybe that's something that you feel called to do in that situation. But just staying true to that. And again, remember, you don't have to connect with everyone. You're going to step on toes. People are going to unfollow you. People are probably going to block you. And that's okay. Okay. Give yourself freedom in that. Just know that that's going to happen right now. You're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Fitness can be a weird thing for people to talk about. Eating healthy can be a weird thing for people to talk about. But you're here to keep working on yourself, keep making yourself better, and hopefully influence other people to change. So what makes a good caption? So these are just a few ideas, and these aren't even things that I always do, right? Like these are just ideas for you guys that I personally think can be a good caption. Short and sweet one-liners. There are coaches who, and brands really, who are so great at just like short and sweet one-liners that I'm like, how in the world did they think of that? I have way too many words and I need to like simmer them down, but it's really hard for me to. But short and sweet one-liners are great. Something witty, something fun, something, whatever is true to you and your brand. Again, this is not a one-size-fits-all business. Even this training is not one-size-fits-all. You've got to find what's true to your brand, but I think that those can be really powerful. Telling a story or illustration and what you learned from that moment. So this is what I tend to do a lot is, almost like in a sermon type style of like sharing something that happened and kind of the story that came out of that. And so this can be really powerful as well because people tend to put themselves in your shoes. And so when you talk about something that happened, whether, I don't know, whatever story it is, people tend to put themselves in your shoes and they can really experience that and walk through that with you. And so this can be powerful as well. Asking questions. I said it before, but asking questions is so powerful. You've got to engage with your followers and then make sure that you're going back in and you're commenting back and you're talking with them. Talk in numbers. If you're talking about something, use numbers in it. Really what this means in talking in numbers is like use real stats, real numbers, real hard facts when you're talking about something because that can be super duper powerful. And really think about emotional power words. What are those words that have strong power behind them that you can use in your post that's going to be a little bit more powerful than just throwing a random word up there? So again, stop selling Beachbody and start selling you and your lifestyle. I think that we have in our head that a good Beachbody coach is someone who's like, this is what I looked like before, and now I have a 6-pack abs. Like, no, like for me, that's not my story. This is what my belly looks like after having a baby, right? Like, this is who I am. This is my journey, and I'm selling me, and I'm selling the lifestyle that I live. So I'm, maybe could lose an extra 5 pounds if I like ate broccoli all the time, but I like to eat good food. And so, I'm selling my lifestyle and my approach to health and fitness. And so you have to really earn your right to sell. We're not here to sell fitness programs and shakes. We are here to help change our lives and inspire other people to change theirs. And so it's really important that we continue on our own health and fitness journey. For me, my business exploded after I had my first daughter really during and after, because as I was pregnant, I gained 45 pounds, but I worked out every single day up until the day that I had her. And I had so many people jump in and join me because they're like, if this pregnant girl can work out every day, like I can get my butt off of the couch and work out. And I literally signed up some of my most amazing coaches, some of the people who are just like, they've been here with me from the beginning in that time because they saw me working out and they thought, okay, if she can do this while she's pregnant, if she can do this while she, is nauseous or whatever, or juggling a new baby, or she can show up even when she's got all this extra weight. They watched me through my journey and it inspired change in their life. And so it honestly wasn't the workouts I was doing or even the shakes I was drinking. It was really that people just saw my journey and they wanted to be a part of what was happening. And so we have to become a lighthouse and shine bright in other women's lives. And that's really what this is about, y'all. It's not about having a 6-pack abs. It's not about, I don't know, like having this Pinterest perfect home or having this beautiful clothes and style and all of this. That's not what it's about. It's about literally being a lighthouse and shining bright in other women's lives. Now, we can work strategically. We can try to create brands that have, beautiful photos and captions, and we can work strategically in that. But just thinking about, okay, how can I inspire change in other women's lives? Women who are like me, who get me, those 5 things that make me me. If you haven't watched the branding video that I did about the color wheel, definitely go back and watch it. You can just search color wheel in the search bar of Fit for His Glory Sisters. But I did a training on figuring out what are the 5 things that make you you. And this is just really powerful for you to understand who your people are. I think a lot of times we think, oh, well, my people are women who love Jesus. And the reality is that that's a lot of people still. And while we think that's just a niche group of people, it's really not. That's a whole lot of different women that you could be working with. And so you have to get really particular. And sometimes it can feel like you're being too filtered. But the reality is that's going to help you find your people. I've personally seen this happen when I started my business, particularly with coaching. When I started my business, I had some great girls on my team, right? But there was something that was missing. And it was because I wasn't talking to the girls that I wanted to attract girls who are ready to work, who are ready to show up, who are ready to give their best, who are ready to get up early, who are ready to sacrifice what they needed to sacrifice and figure out how to be productive and make this business happen. And I was missing that. Like, that was non-existent. And over the past 3 years of my business, like, I have found those people. And it's not even that I went and found them, because honestly, most of them I didn't even go and find. A lot of them found me, and they were attracted to me because of the lifestyle that they saw me living. And so this again goes into who we attract, is so, so important. So we have to stop worrying about what other people think and be proud of who we are. Be proud of the fact that we're a Beachbody coach. Be proud of the fact that, we're here to inspire change. Be proud of the fact that, we want to help people get fit and healthy for the glory of God. Like, be proud of who we are and what makes us us. We are all going to have different approaches to this business. I love how we can all sit here and talk about, okay, this is how we want to run our businesses. We want to pray over our challengers. We want to pray over our team. We want to do this, or we want to lead for the glory of God. But still, some of us, our businesses are going to look very different. Some of us, it's going to look a little bit more like, loving people really well and shining bright for Jesus in the way that we love them. And for other people like myself, it's going to be a little bit more, for Christ center facing. But all of those ways are still so beautiful, because on the back end, we're all still doing the same things, right? And so just being true to who you are and those things that make you you. If you're a dog mom, be a dog mom on Instagram. If you're, in college, do that. Like, speak to those girls. Make an ebook or something fun that speaks to how can you stay healthy while you're in college. Do things and bring things to the table that bring value to the people that you want to work with. Because this business will also be a lot more fun if the content you're creating is something that's easy for you to create. And secondly, if the people you're attracting are people that you actually want to hang out with in real life. Yeah, that's it, guys. Stop worrying about what other people think and just be really proud of who you are. I've learned so much in this business. And as I look back over the past 4.5 years, so much of it is that I didn't try to just throw things up on Instagram or whatever. Like, I really do think about what I'm doing and really try to stay in the guidelines of who my brand is. And so figure out what works for you in that. Figure out what's going to bring value and trust to your followers. You can use platforms like Stem Social all day long to help grow your account. But if you don't have really great photos and really great content to back it up, people are not going to press follow. And so take the time to make that happen. Again, if that means 2 posts a week or 3 posts a week, do that. Be really consistent with that. And you can add in 1 post a week as you go. And once you get into a good rhythm, I have personally, I didn't put all this in here, but I'll just go ahead and tell you guys, personally, always pretty much planned my content in advance. So for the most part, I go in on like Friday or Saturday and schedule all of my Instagram posts for the next week. And so I try to take pictures like throughout the week. So then the next week I'll have photos for my Instagram account. Sometimes they are spur of the moment photos and I have all the captions written out. I just don't necessarily have the pictures. But I personally use Planoly, Planoly, to schedule all of my Instagram posts. And then I just have them automatically post to Facebook. There's a really great, if you go to YouTube and type in Planoly how to, there's just some really great trainings on exactly how to use Planoly. But you can actually, it's free up to a certain amount, and I use a free account. But you can actually set it to where it posts for you. So if you are someone who is working this as a side hustle, you should absolutely be scheduling your Instagram post. That is not something you should be trying to write out in the mornings. That should be something that you schedule, and you schedule it to be posted that next morning. Let's see here. Okay, I would love to dive into questions. Later.com is a good one as well. Yes, Erica, 100%. I've used a few different ones. There's some really great ones. That's just one I found recently, was Planoly. Angels. I've tried Planely before. It was definitely helpful. We'll check out later.com too. Yes. Yeah. So the one I use is called Planoly. I'll just type it here so that y'all can see. I just like the way it looks because I'm weird like that. Any other questions? I'd love to take any questions you guys have. And you can take yourself off mute if you want to ask a question, or if you just want to drop it in the chat box, I can definitely answer it here as well. You can ask me anything you want. Oh, Sue, autocorrect. Okay. Yeah, anything you guys want. I mean, now's your time. Whatever you want to ask me about my Instagram, about my content, about building my brand, anything you've been thinking about or wondering about.
Hey, question.
Yes.
Okay, so lately I've been having, this isn't really Instagram related, but it's a good and bad thing, I guess. I've been having trouble with like everyone that I've been talking to. They're just signing up for Beachbody on demand rather than like doing a challenge pack, which is great because they're committing and they're starting to work out. But I'm like, how do I address that better without like it just look, because I know, like, we know it's a great deal and that Shakeology is like a really good way to get started, especially if you're not eating well. But I'm just struggling with that.
Yeah.
Because like, rather than having challenge pack and getting the most benefit for your money, they're just signing up for just Beachbody, and then they're not getting any of the nutrition or anything. So I'm just struggling with that.
Yeah. I know different coaches do this different ways. This is just personally what I do. So I don't give them an option of Beachbody on demand for the $99. I send them the challenge packs only. So when I'm talking to them, I tell them, okay, these are the different packages you can choose from. To be in my 30-day groups, they have to purchase a challenge pack. So obviously I'm sensitive to, things that people are walking through, or if they can't purchase one of those, I might say, okay, it's fine. Like, if you purchase the $99, I'll place you in the virtual gym. It's an ongoing group anyway. So like I'm already showing up there. But to be in one of my 30-day groups where I'm only taking a certain amount of people, I am pretty strict about that. But again, if it is someone who is maybe in my inner circle, someone who I know just like really like they're in a place where they really can't afford it, just because I do know so many people who are automatically go for the cheapest thing and not even really read up on it or really understand it. They're just automatically be like, $99, I'm going for that one. And they may have the money. Like they may be spending $200 a month at Pure Barre or, another workout. They have the money. They just go for the cheaper option.
Yeah, these are not necessarily people that I'm emailing, because when I do the same thing when I email people or when I talk to people, these are people who have already like heard about Beachbody.
Gotcha.
And so they already know that that's an option. Like they know that they can they've gone online and they looked.
Yes.
And, so you can go to beachbody.com and it says, $99 for an annual fee.
Yeah. So I would just explain to them like, so yes, with the $99, you're going to get Beachbody on demand for a year, but we do have these packages for just $60 more. You're literally getting 50% off of this superfood shake. Here's a link that tells you all about it. This is why I drink it. Really explaining to them, because a lot of people have no idea what Shakeology is. A lot of people just think that it's a protein shake. They don't understand. And so a lot of times it's just we need to take that extra step and like maybe explaining it to them. So if someone comes at you and they're like, hey, I really want to get Beachbody on Demand for $99 for a year. Like I typically am like, okay, awesome. Well, I'm really excited to work with you. You know, let me tell you a little bit about the different packages we have. You can send them a voice message on Instagram stories if that's how you're communicating. You know, obviously it's always great to get them to email, but I just know sometimes that just, it's awkward or it'd be weird to make that happen. So once you send that to them, but if they are very like, no, I want the $99, then I just say, okay, awesome. Well, just so you know, for my 30-day groups, you have to buy a challenge pack. So I'm more than welcome to set you up with Beachbody on Demand for a year and place you in my ongoing virtual gym, but you're not going to get that like like more intense coaching of a smaller group. And I'm just really upfront with them about it. And, you know, here's the thing you have to really think about, and you just have to always remember is like, yes, we want to always provide people with what they need, but at the same time, you also have to put a dollar amount on your time and how much time you're investing in people. With a challenge pack, you're making like $50. If you're running a 30-day group, that's like $1.50 a day that you're making from each of those people. That's really not that much. And especially if they're about to work with you for the next year, $50 divided by that whole year, you know, if they never purchase again. So you just really have to put a dollar sign on the amount of time you're spending. The thing I always have to say is like, if I'm saying yes to all these people, then I'm saying no to other things. And so just making sure I'm being wise with that. And I think that like, again, I don't ever want to turn someone away, but at the same time, like I also want to make sure that the people who are buying challenge packs are getting my best first fruits. You know what I mean? So does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, good. I'm at small groups, so I can't turn my volume up, but how specific or detailed should we get with our 5? You know, I think sometimes in the beginning, or for me at least in the beginning, they were a little bit broader, right? It was like mom, wife, you know, Christian, which turns out that's a lot of people that are those 3 things. But I think that maybe if you do have those 3 things be a little more broad, then maybe just get a little bit more niche about the other 2 things. So it's really up to you. But that would be kind of the direction I would take it. I think the more niche you can think, the better. I know sometimes people are like, I don't know. But the thing is you have to remember is that people who are following you, like they may relate to one of the 5 things that you talk about a lot, and the rest of them they may not relate to as much, but they still love you for that one thing. And so if you've got a bunch of different people relating to one of those 5 things, that's a lot of people that are still going to be attracted to you. But also sets you apart from every other coach. So it can really be as niche or as not niche as you want it to be. But that's kind of my take. Perfect. Any other questions from anyone? You can drop it here, take yourself off mute. One thing I will say really quick before we wrap things up is that this way may be a little bit more of the narrow path at times, but we also have to remember that the life that we live in may be more of the narrow path, and so it's not as popular to people. And so when you do start to put these things into action, it may be that you're not drawing in the masses of people, but remember, you don't need 20,000 followers to be an amazing coach. You need a few people who love you. And so a consistent business is built with literally just 3 people a month. And so if you can just find 3 new people every month that make up those things that are small, that you feel like are very specific, that's all you need for a great business. And so, yes, I can definitely make sure you have access to it. And I did record this call, so I'll also post the recording as well in our Fit for His Glory Sisters page. All right, everybody. I hope someone took a picture of all of us on here because I totally didn't. Well, let's just take one really quick, even though a bunch of people already hopped off. So, because you know I got to get a photo for the Insta. So everyone smile. All right, ladies. Well, I am so thankful for you guys. Thank you so much for being on tonight. I can't wait to see all my girls who are coming to Fit for His Glory Sisters virtual gym, retreat later this week. Shareya, I just shipped you a little gift in the mail literally right before this call. for hitting emeralds. So I love y'all. You're amazing. Let me pray for you guys really quick before we hop off here. Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much for these incredible women. Thank you for just their hearts for you and serving women in health and fitness, God. We are so thankful for just what you're doing on this team, God, how you're working. Thank you, God, that you are taking a secular business and using it for your glory. I pray that we would all just be arrows back to you in everything that we do and that we say. And God, I pray that you would just help us to be bold, God. It's not going to be the popular way. Some people aren't going to get it. Some people are going to make fun of us behind our backs. But God, that just is what it is. And we know that we're being true to who you've called us to be. And we're seeing you show up in real ways. And so, God, just remind us of that when we feel down or we feel like, oh, no one's saying yes, Lord, and we're frustrated. But God, just over that hump might be something really beautiful. So I just pray that we be persistent and persevere and not give up when times get hard, Lord. God, we love you. I pray that you would just give us creativity in how we run our brands and our businesses, God. You are the ultimate creator. And so I just pray that we would lean into you this week, God. God, we love you. God, we praise you. I pray that these women just know that we are for them. And it's in your name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. I love y'all. Have an amazing week.